Welcome back to another Pokemon SLAB Sunday, where once a month we go through a ton of graded cards because so many of them are bouncing back right now, and we're even going to be checking some Chinese exclusives at the very end, and we are going to be doing a giveaway today. All you have to do is make sure you're subscribed, hit that notification bell, leave a like, and then I want you to comment your all-time favorite Pokemon. And these are the cards that I'm giving away today. We got the Magneton promo, we got the Koraidon promo, we got the Hisuian Samurott from Crown Zenith, so a couple nice cards. We do have to announce the winner from last Sunday's giveaway. So for the subscriber, the winner is at Mr. Dink, at Big Pat, and the member winner is at Gouda33. So just hit me up on email or hit me up on Instagram. I'll get those cards sent out to you. And we do have to give a big thanks to our video sponsor real quick, and that is Platinum Protectors. These guys are the best of the best when it comes to protecting your collections. They have cases for action figures, comic books, diecast, Funko Pops, trading cards, video games, and they have so many different products when it comes to trading cards. Yeah, they even got nice thick acrylic cases with the magnetic tops, or you can go cheaper and you can get some of these bulk cases, which you're basically paying a few dollars a case that way. And they added a ton of new products. They got the booster bundle cases, both sizes, a ton of UPCs. They got everything now. And if you guys want 10% off your first order, you got to click the link down in my description. Some people are saying the promo code isn't working, but you actually have to go to my description and click the link, and then it will work. But you'll get 10% off your first order of $50 or more. So definitely check them out. The links are in the description. All right, let's get into it. We got a ton of cards bouncing back, like I said. I mean, the Pikachu here, which was over $1,000 for the longest time, got down to $705. Now last sold $813. Then we got a 9 at $275. Next, we have the Greninja EX. Basically, all of these charts almost look exactly the same. It's actually super funny. Greninja was at about $811. Got down to $629. Now last sold $750. Next, we have the Bubble Mew EX. This is at $1,066 in February. Got down to $781. Is now going crazy. Last sold $1,299 and $1,300 before that. $1,300, $1,300, and $1,275. And then we did have a 9 at $399, which is crazy. Next, we have the Charizard EX from Paldean Fates. This was at $623 in February and got down to $414. Now up just a little bit. Last sold $475, $475, and $485. Next, we have the Gardevoir EX from Paldean Fates. This was at $298. Just getting no love. Got down to $184. Now last sold $239, $250, $244. I do think the new Gardevoir that we're getting is better than this one, in my opinion. Let me know down below, which Gardevoir do you guys like the most? Is it the one from Scarlet Violet base set, Paldean Fates, or our new one in the Mega Evolution? Next, we have the Groudon illustration rare. This is at $434. Got down to $302. And going up right now, last sold $343. $360 and $331. So just coming up in price a little bit. Next, we have the Charizard EX from $151. This was at $993 in January 2025. Got down to $671. Now last sold $799, $779, and we got a 9 at $202. We do even have a PSA 10 sale at $862. Next, we have the Magikarp. So this was at $1,500. Got down to $1,135. Went all the way up to $2,276. Now last sold $1,900. So the Magikarp is actually coming down in price from its all-time high. It's still a crazy price for an illustration rare. Next, we have the Pikachu with Gray Felt Hat. This is a card that could not be stopped. It was $700 and it just keeps slowly rising. Now last sold $969, $1,056, $1,249, $1,031. Prices are kind of all over the place. Remember, this is a card that has 41,000 10s, 37,000 9s, and 3,600 8s. Next, we have the Pokemon Center Snorlax promo. This got down to $457. Now last sold in a 10, $870, $790, $770, $930. And then we got 9s all day, right around $200. Next, we have the Pokemon Center Charmander promo. This got down to $1450. Now last sold $1750, $1599. We got a 9 at $115 and another 9 at $165. That is quite the jump. Next, we have the Pikachu Pokemon Center promo. This one's going up a little bit also. Got down to about $750. Now last sold $898. And another sale at $1,075 before that. Now you got to remember, these cards are pretty exclusive to where, yes, they're technically kind of tough to grade, but there's really not even a ton of them graded. I mean, there's only 536 10s, 1,300 9s, and 550 8s. And even if we go back to Charmander, a more popular card, there's 598 10s, 2,600 9s, and 1,700 8s. So there's just not a ton of them graded, and they're tough to grade. All right, next we have the Magneton Pokemon Center promo. This was at $241, got down to $129. Now last sold $215, $203, $200. I think I even put that in a video that I felt like that was a pretty solid buy when that was dropping. All of the Pokemon Center promos around $100 in a 10. Next, we have the Greninja promo. This is at 243. Got down to 149. Now last sold 299, 307, and we got a 9 at $60. Next, we have the Kingdra promo. This was at 168. Got down to 100. Now last sold 197. We got a 9 at 70 and 54. Next, we have the Mew EX promo. Love this card. I got a ton of these. This is at $304. Got down to 245. Now last sold 390. We got a 9 at 47 and 45. Next, we have the Mewtwo promo. This was at $233 in a 10. Got down to 181. Now last sold in a 10 is $350. 323 before that. Then we got a 9 at 36 and 35. Next, we have the Mewtwo V-Star from Crown Zenith. This was at $304 in January 2025. Got down to $230. Now last sold $317. We do have a sale at $232. Yeah, it does say PSA 10. And before that, $290. So yeah, from what I've seen, it's more around $300 for that card. Next, we have the Lugia V from Silver Tempest. This was at $697. Got down to about $600. Now last sold $800, $950, and $1,000. And in a 9 sold for $305 and $338. This card's going up in price again. Next, we have the Giratina V. This is at $1,635 in a PSA 10. Got down to $1,239. Now last sold $1,799, $1,725. And we got a 9 at $510 and $560. Next, we have the Mewtwo V Alt Art from Pokemon Go. This got to $176, down to $140. Now last sold $170, $165, $160. So still pretty affordable. Next, we have the Charizard V Alt Art from Brilliant Stars. So it got down to about $392 in June. Now last sold $549 and $495. This card has a pop of $13,370 in a 10 and $9,247 in a 9. Next, we have the Gengar V Max. This is at $1,500 in January of 2025. Got down to about $1,200. Now last sold $1,799, $1,525, $1,540. And we got a PSA 9 at $700. Next, we have the Espeon V Max from Fusion Strike. This is at $630. Got down to $490. Now last sold $650, $600, and $625. All right, next, we have the Gold Snorlax from Chilling Reign. This is one of the coolest gold cards we've gotten besides, Crown Zenith, but this is at $127 in a PSA 10. Now last sold $200, $165, $196. It says a pop of $4,982 in a 10 and $1,500 in a 9. Next, we have the Pikachu from Celebrations. This is the kind of reprint of the base set one turned into an illustration rare. This thing was dirt cheap in a PSA 10. And it's super tough to grade. There's only 472 10s and 3,972 9s, but I'm going to guess there's another 1,000 or 2,000 10s that are going to hit the market soon because so many people sent a ton of these cards in. So this card will eventually dip. But last sold in a 10, which is not even showing me, is $650, which was a few days ago. That's crazy for a card that literally cost a couple dollars. Next, we have the Mew from Celebrations. This is the Gold Shiny Mew. This was at $101 in a 10. Now last sold $144, $150, $160. So slowly going up. I can see this card even going up a little bit higher. It is relatively easy to grade though. There's 12,000 10s and 7,000 9s. Next, we have the Gold Star Umbreon from Celebrations. So this thing went crazy, got up to $346 and came back down. Now last sold $272, $300, and $321. I do love that card. The pop on this one is $10,946 in a 10 and $6,000 in a 9. Next, we have the Birthday Pikachu from Celebrations. This was a super cheap card, $75 in a 10. Now last sold $155, $163, and $145. And there's 12,000 of these in a 10 and 5,000 in a 9. Next, we have the Umbreon VMAX. It's got down to $2,180. Now last sold $2,899, $2,850, $2,800. And then we got a PSA 9 at $1,489 and $1,350. So basically a $3,000 PSA 10 card. And there's 17,650 10s, 4,740 9s, and 1,097 8s. Next, we have the Rayquaza VMAX from Evolving. This was a $900 card in a PSA 10. Always was super cheap compared to the rest of the Sword and Shield Alt Arts because it was really easy to grade. I mean, there's only 3,000 9s and 11,000 10s. But now last sold $1,500, $1,400, $1,400, $1,250, $1,550. So finally getting some love. Next, we have the Dragonite V, one of the best cards we've ever gotten. This was $450 in May in a 10, now last sold $800, $825, $779. This has a pop of $8,000 in a 10 and $5,500 in a 9. Next, we have the Umbreon V from Evolving Skies. This was $485 in a 10, now last sold $666, $620, $600. Next, we have the Rayquaza V, also doing really good. This was at $375, now last sold $596, $483, $629, and we got a PSA 9 at $190. Next, we have this Sleepy T-Tar from Battle Styles. This was at $462 in February, got down to about $390. Now last sold $465, $430, and $450. Next, we have the Gold Pikachu V card. This is from the Celebrations UPC, so it doesn't even have the pops on here. But this thing was $166 in a 10. Now last sold $440, $514 before that. I do think this is a pretty cool gold card. Next, we have the Vaporeon V Max. This is the Sword and Shield promo. This was at $475 in a 10 in June. Got up to about $900. Now last sold $900. So this card was about $350 in April 2025. And then in June, it was about $475. And now last sold $900, $790, and $799. That was a couple days ago. Next, we have the Greninja Gold Star. This has a pop of $2,034 in a 10, $9,490 in a 9. And this thing was $100 or something like that back in the day. It was at $163 in January 2025. We got a 9 at $49 and $38. And the 10 prices are kind of all over the place. We got one at $929, and then we got one at $530, which is wild. But yeah, such a cool card. Definitely kind of tough to grade if you're really looking at it. I mean, there's 5,288 eights. So that's definitely a tough card to grade. Next, we have the Team Rocket's Mewtwo. So we finally got a little bit of data on some of these PSA 10 sales. This was at $2,000, and now it's selling for around $1,000. Next, we have the Cynthia's Garchomp. This was at $1,200, and we got a PSA 10 sale at $630, $669, and $650. Next, we have the Team Rocket's Moltres. This was at $585 in a 10. Got down to $470, and now last sold $499 because it did kind of have a bounce back for the Raw. So the PSA is kind of following. It is such a nice card. I feel like it's pretty underrated. Next, we have the Ethan's Ho-Oh. This was at $715, and now last sold $510, $510. But this is my favorite card. This card, to me, when I look at it, is just peaceful. Like, if I was stressed out and I just looked at this card for a minute or two, I feel like it would calm me down. Next, my favorite tag team. This is a statue that I want in my house one day. Life size. Don't know if it will ever happen, but I want it. This is the Arceus, Dialga, and Palkia GX tag team. This was $972 in May of 2025. Now last sold $1,875. That was on the 27th. Super low pop on these, $1,300 in a 10, $1,300 in a 9, $500 in an 8. Next, we have the tag team Reshiram and Zekrom. Another card, super nice. Love the orange on it. This thing really pops. This thing just keeps going straight up. It was at $860 in March of 2025. Now last sold $2,400. This only has a pop of $825 in a 10 and $1,000 in a 9. Next, we have the Latias and Latios tag team, the most famous tag team there is. This thing was $4,000 in March of 2025. Now last sold $10,100, $8,500, $13,899. I mean, it's crazy. And for a 9, we got $3,150. Next, we have the Gengar and Mimikyu. Actually coming down in price a little bit. It was at $5,150. Now last sold $4,250. This card did shoot up super quick. So, a lot of times they'll come back down and level out. There's $1,554 in a 10 too, and $979 in a 9. So one of the higher pop cards for tag teams. Next, we have the non-textured Gengar and Mimikyu. This thing, pop of $1,430 in a 10, $1,488 in a 9. So it's $350 in February 2025. Now last sold $1,200. That is crazy. This card used to be so cheap. Next, we have the Gardevoir and Sylveon tag team. I feel like no one ever talks about this card, and I don't get why. I think it's one of the most beautiful cards. It's one of my wife's all-time favorite cards. It says a pop of $1,359 in the 10, $943 in a 9, and last sold in the 10 is $1,925 and $1,825. But that looks like that was about a couple weeks ago. Sometimes Pokedata can be a little slow on some of these. But this card used to be $400 in a PSA 10. Next, we have the Umbreon and Darkrai GX Tag Team Promo. This has a pop of $933 in a 10, $4,100 in a 9, $1,977 in an 8. And last sold for this is $2,800 in a 10 a few days ago and $2,500 before that. We got a 9 at $205. All right, next we have the Mewtwo and Mew GX Tag Team promo. This has a pop of 6,275 in a 10, 3,255 in a 9. So definitely one of the easiest tag team cards to grade. And last sold $1,024 in a 10 and $1,050 before that. And we got a 9 at $406. It's honestly mind-blowing seeing these prices. I used to pick these cards up all the time for just dirt cheap. Next, we're going to check a couple of the promos that are coming down in price now. So we got the Moltres and Zapdos Articuno Stained Glass Birds. It's got up to $456 in a 10. And now last sold $326. This card does have a high pop. It has 25,000 10s and 13,000 9s and 2,008. So super easy card to grade. Next, we have the Garchomp and Giratina. This is a pop of 2,374 in a 10 and 1,200 in a 9. Got up to $690. Now last sold $630. So just coming down in price a little bit. We got another still at $600 and $680. Love this card. I think it's pretty underrated, to be honest. Next, we have the Pikachu and Zekrom GX Tag Team promo. This got up to $1,371. Now last sold $1,243, $1,300, $1,275. But that's super normal for when these cards shoot up like that to level out a little bit and kind of find their spot. This does have a pop of 3,100 in a 10 and 2,500 in a 9. All right, we are going to hop to some Chinese cards. So here is the exclusive Chinese Special Art Rare Arcanine in a PSA 10. Last sold 609, 626, 510, 560. If you guys are an Arcanine fan, I definitely recommend picking up this card, at least raw. I did see it in person last week. It is nice. I think it looks much better in person than it does on the screen. Next, we have the Sylveon Art Rare. So there's 4 art rares that you can get in the set. The Sylveon, the Umbreon, the Leafeon, and I think the Eevee. But last sold for this PSA 10 is $330, $349, and $338. And the Umbreon, now last sold just for the Umbreon, $930, $920. And looks like we got the whole set here. So the Eevee, Umbreon, Leafeon, and Sylveon sold for $2,025. And before that, it was $2,350. But yeah, the Umbreon is basically a $1,000 PSA 10 card. Next, we have the Captain Pikachu. So whenever we got like a Pikachu card with a name in front of it, it usually does super good. So we got the Captain Pikachu last sold in a PSA 10, $810. We even have the Captain Pikachu Master Ball in a PSA 10, only sold for $50. So, I mean, if you guys really want a Captain Pikachu, the art is pretty nice. Got like the little stamp there and stuff. So it's a pretty cool card. And for $50, that's not terrible. And another Captain Pikachu art rare for $800. Next, we have all of the 151 Pikachu art rares. So these are basically some of the most expensive Chinese exclusive cards you can get. And I think there's 4 of them. We just got the new Gengar one, which just sold for $6,100 in a PSA 10. We got the Pikachu and Psyduck one that sold for $1,385. I love this one because it has a Dragonite in the background. And then we got the other one with Mew in the background. This one sold for $990. But let me know down below which one of these is your favorite. I think we still have one more that hasn't been released yet. So we got the Psyduck one with Dragonite. Then we got the close-up of Pikachu with the Mew. Or we got the Gengar one. Art-wise, I would say Gengar is probably the best just because Gengar is kind of sneaking up on Pikachu. Pikachu looks kind of rattled. So I would definitely say that's probably the best one of the 3. So yeah, let me know down below in a separate comment because we got to have the comment for the giveaway of your favorite Pokemon. But we did have another sale on the same day that I just noticed was $4,850. So basically a $1,300 difference on the same day, which is just crazy. And last on the list, we have the exclusive Chinese Mew EX card. Now this one is actually exclusive. There's only 1,510 of these on the planet. Like not just PSA 10s, like of the actual card itself. And be careful buying these. There's a ton of fakes of these now. But last sold in a PSA 10, $16,800. And before that, it was at $14,955, $15,700. So this is definitely basically the most expensive modern card in Pokemon history right now, which is just crazy to think about. I really thought it was funny that a lot of people didn't even care about this card when it came out. I honestly feel like if it was a Japanese card, it would be doing even better right now. Like I could see it being double the price, like insane prices. But all right, that was today's Pokemon Slab Sunday. If you guys do like this content, please make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell, leave a like and comment. And make sure to comment your favorite Pokemon to be entered in that giveaway. And then if you guys want to support more, you can check out my Instagram, my TikTok, or my YouTube membership. It's only 99 cents a month. But alright, I want you guys to have a great day, and if you want to watch my last following Friday, which was a super good one, click this video here. Otherwise, we'll see you next time.